Dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, bonjour, hola, good morning, privet. This is Ken at 10. What a tumultuous week it's been in property. And we've said it many times before, but I'm going to say it again, unprecedented. We've never really seen anything like it, have we? Bonds, gilts, what are they? What do they mean? Basically, it's government debt. And pension funds invest in them because they're long-term, low-yield, boring investments that are meant to be stable. Well, what's happened is that since Quasi's announcement and the lack of trust in Liz Truss, they've gone through the floor. And the government's program of what was going to be quantitative tightening has quickly flipped to quantitative easing, and they're back buying government debt again. That's what it comes down to. The Bank of England buying government debt to reassure the markets. Why? Well, I actually think that the government made a big ricket when they decided to put the mini budget just before the Labour Party conference, because Keir Starmer, probably in my view, had the speech of his life following the mini budget and obviously was there ready to pounce on all of its weaknesses. And of course, the wider Europe and the rest of the world have looked at this and said, this doesn't look right. He's got a point. Where are the economics behind these policies? And it's caused a lack of confidence in the pound, and that pound tumbling has caused the Bank of England to intervene. And this doesn't help matters and could indeed mean further and higher interest rate movements in order to shore up the pound. In fact, the widely held belief is that in November, which is when the Monetary Policy Committee next meets, we'll be looking at a rise of between 1.25 and 1.5 points. So it's quite a shocking rise. But let's get some perspective on this for you. What does it mean in terms of your mortgage payments? This is not financial advice, but just to give you some idea. If the interest rate goes up by 1%, then for every 100,000 you've borrowed, it's an extra £50. So in other words, if you've got a mortgage of £400,000 and the mortgage rate goes up by 1%, it's an extra £200 a month for you. So there've been some massive jumps for a lot of people, and this is how it impacts people in their pockets immediately. In terms of the market and what it means to the market, well, many people will think, you know what, now's not the time to move. I'm not really sure. The big problem is the withdrawal of mortgage fixed rate products. And this is because of the medium term fluctuations in the government, the institutions not being able to see what the rates are in the future of their borrowing, so that they can't provide fixed rate guarantees. And these fixed rate mortgages are what we all rely on to buy our new mortgages. There are still some fixed rate products out there, though, and more than one or two. There's several products out there, not as many as there were, and no doubt lenders will be more discerning. What do I expect to happen amongst all of these things? Well, I think certainly there'll be a slowing down of the market in terms of the volume of sellers. Many people will withdraw from the market. It doesn't mean they'll suddenly get repossessed and there'll be a big flood of property, as some are predicting. I don't suspect that will happen. I think the most vulnerable sector of the market is the single landlords with one property who might decide to sell up, because that property is not their primary home, and they might decide that instead of actually going ahead and continuing to rent that property, they'll just sell up because the costs are so much higher. Their other alternative is, of course, to raise the rents, and rents are already through the roof, so they can only go so far with that as well. And whether it works for that particular landlord depends on how long they've held that investment and what their level of debt is on it. For new buy-to-let investors, they may well find that they're actually putting in more money than they're getting out, and this will be a shock and may lead them to exit the market. So I suspect what we'll see is more ex-buy-to-let properties coming to market. That I really do expect to happen over the coming months. I also suspect we'll see a trend of moving downwards from detached houses and medium-sized houses to flats. I see a lot of people downsizing now. I can see that happening for a number of reasons. Number one, the efficiency in energy performance, reducing those bills down, people wanting to batten down the hatches, perhaps release some cash, perhaps get rid of their mortgages. And we'll see some area moves for that reason as well. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on. I've just done a podcast all about it, explaining what gilts are and what it means for the market, and some comments what advisors are thinking and advice around mortgages as well. Although it's not financial advice, seek independent financial advice. We always recommend speaking to an independent advisor, because they're the ones that can give you the best deals out there at any given time, given your specific circumstances. And we can't do that. We're just doing a general broadcast to give an overall view of what's going on. As far as the market's concerned, though, it's still busy on rentals, extremely busy on rentals, and sales, we're still getting viewings. Remember, there are a lot of buyers out there that are cash buyers that are selling their homes for cash, and those buyers are unaffected by any interest rate increases. And also, there's a vast shortage still of properties. We still have far more buyers than sellers. So the market continues, maybe not at the pace it was, but in time, the interest rate problem will sort itself out. There will be more fixed rate deals out there as the markets settle. This may take some time. Time will tell. But that's it for this week. It's Friday, fantastic day of the week for me, as many of you will know. I love the anticipation of the weekend, the fact that it's the competition to make sure that any buyers out there are viewing properties through us. We're giving it the big push, what we call the ring round, where we're ringing everybody, trying our best to get people out for the weekend to our properties as opposed to our competitors. So if you're thinking of selling or you're just thinking of what you should do next, as always, give us a call. We're always delighted to speak to you and help if we can, even if you're not in our area. So thanks for watching. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back on Monday with another edition. And don't forget, check out the podcast. Just look up Ken Humes Podcast on your favorite provider. Take care. Look after yourselves. And if you can, your family and friends. Ciao.